Are you trying to buy a condominium and having trouble getting a lender to lend you money for a mortgage loan? Part of the reason is because Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, those are some government agencies that give us guidelines for mortgage loans, have very specific requirements for condominiums. Anytime a condominium complex doesn't follow those rules, it can be what's called non-warrantable. A non-warrantable condominium is one that isn't traditionally lendable. One of the more common problems I run into is budgetary issues with condominium associations. The association often will have reserves for things that could go wrong in the complex. So for those reserves, we need 10% from all of the HOA fees to go towards that reserve on a yearly basis. And very often, condominium associations find that they have enough in their reserves and they feel that they don't need to continue to allocate 10% to those reserves. But once they change this, it's non-warrantable. One of the other issues that we run into is new construction. So in new construction condominiums, until there are 50% of them that are sold, they're non-warrantable. So my company, A Plus Mortgage Services, is able to do new construction and often non-warrantable condominiums, especially in circumstances where other lenders may fail. In fact, this week I've gotten several of them where other lenders were not able to lend on it, but we were. And part of that is because we're able to make those condo decisions in-house as a true lender versus a mortgage broker where you're working through a secondary company that has not as much freedom. Another situation that I've run into where a condominium complex was considered non-warrantable is when a certain proportion of the units are rented versus owned by individual owners. And typically if they're rented, that poses a higher risk. In addition, if more than a certain proportion of the units are owned by one particular owner, that can also pose a higher risk and can render that condominium complex non-warrantable. Condotels, timeshares, fractional ownership properties, multi-unit condominiums, condos in a permanent care assistance residence, and then other projects which require owners to join an organization, such as a golf club, can also fall under that non-warrantable condominium. So what do you as the buyer do? If you can check ahead of time with your lender, have them look up whether that condominium complex is acceptable or not. They can typically look up budget and other information from the listing agent. They can get the condominium documents and start checking into it before you start committing to the process. Because it's such a bummer when you're halfway through and you find out you can't get a mortgage loan for the condominium that you really wanted. And it's quite a bummer for the seller as well if they need to start all over with another buyer. Hey, I'm here to answer your lending questions. If you have any more questions about condominiums and what is and isn't warrantable, leave it in the comments, give me a like and a follow, and have a great day.